In this episode of BYTECamp, we invited Tito Jasen Ko of Laborem and Anton Cruz of Syndrome Supply to share with us their insights as leaders in business. If you want to learn more about how to lead a business efficiently and effectively, then keep on listening. Okay, so hello, and welcome to BYTECamp, Byte's first podcast with this year's theme being Activating Potential. I am Luis Quintos, and I am joined with
Brady Lau, one of your fellow hosts for this year's BYTECamp. And to all Byte members and non-Byte members alike, we invite you to activate your potential in the different and exciting spaces of tech.
That's right. We will be focusing on simple and actionable steps that can lead you to the path you wish to pursue. And for today's episode, our topic will be leadership in business.
And for this episode, we have invited Tito Jasen Ko and Anton Cruz to share with us their experiences when it comes to leadership.
So, good afternoon po, Tito Jasen and Anton. So, hello and welcome to BYTECamp. Thank you very much for joining us today. And before we start, we just wanted to ask you the most important question for this podcast. And it is, how are you doing today? Maybe we can start with Tito Jasen.
So today's a Saturday. It's still a busy day. I had 2 meetings this morning, was able to put in an exercise, and currently watching Vikings on Netflix. So far it's a good day, and there's going to be a party tonight. So it's coming, life is coming back to normal. So
how about very exciting, no, Tito? Buti nakakanap pa kayo ng time to fit in everything in your schedules.
Yeah, of course. That's the only way to live, right?
How about you, Anton? How are you today?
I'm doing good. I had a night out yesterday. I was able to watch a K-drama last night after the night out. So I'm very, very happy. I was able to cram Seaside today. What else? Gave my dog a bath. So yung mga little stuff makes me really happy, especially with our workload. I have another party tonight, and another episode of 2521 is releasing tonight. So that's something I'm really, really excited about. So, yeah.
Serve and sana huwag ka masyadong have fun at your party tonight, but not too much fun, take care of yourself na rin. And again, thank you so much for taking the time to do this podcast with us. But before anything else, could you give us a brief background of yourself? Maybe we can start with Anton.
I'm currently a junior at Ateneo de Manila University studying BYTE, as you guys. I'm the founder and CEO of different companies. I started when I was a kid pa. I interned in our family's advertising business. So doon tinuruan ako mag-graphic design, branding, and all that. Kasi when I was a kid, medyo loko-loko ako. So parang that was my parents' way of disciplining me. Parang, okay, you do this, you do that, learn it. If you like it, you can do it the next summer. So I started liking branding. So from there, it kind of snowballed into how I started managing our restaurant, how my brother and I opened up our first sneaker cleaning store, how we pivoted or branched out to the lifestyle industry during the pandemic. So yeah, parang ganun.
May I ask lang, ano yung name ng sneaker cleaning store nyo and saan siya mahanap?
Okay, it's called Sneaker Syndrome. It's based here in Pampanga. But during the pandemic, we wanted to do something more. And medyo limiting lang yung market na we're able to only clean shoes here in Pampanga. So we wanted to branch out in a different industry but with a bigger market. So we cut the word sneaker and made it syndrome na lang. So, syndrome.supply.
It's nice to hear. And buti nakahanap pa kayo ng way to branch out para mapalaki nyo pa yung market nyo, especially na pandemic ngayon, no? How about you, Tito Jasen? Would you like to give us a brief background of yourself so our audience could get to know you more?
All right, happy to, Luis. So I graduated from Ateneo as well, college. I took up business management, 1991. I actually went back to Ateneo 1998 to teach for a bit. I taught seniors I taught a marketing class. Currently, I oversee 6 businesses. I sit on as chair of 2 NGOs. One is called Endeavor, and the other one is called Venture for Fundraising. As a group, we have a department called Laboratory, where we incubate and start 1 business a year. Our main mission, our group company is called Laborem. Our main mission is to create jobs for Filipinos. And I don't know if you guys are familiar with the word Laborem. Is that familiar to you guys?
Labor. It's my first time hearing about it, Tito.
Same.
Okay, the word Laborem is actually from a paper that Pope John Paul II wrote. It's about the dignity of work. And I think as an organization, we believe that having a job is empowering, right? It gives us the freedom, like what Anton's doing with this business. It's giving people who work a freedom to improve their lives with dignity, right? It's not a dole out. They get the chance to improve, and I think it probably connects to your topic today, which is leadership.
You're overlooking 6 businesses right now, right?
Yeah.
Now, wow, that's a lot. Paano nyo naman manage yung time nyo despite overlooking 6 businesses right now?
It's actually not that hard. Each business is run by either a managing partner or a GM. And it's actually the people who run it. And my job is to be available for them. I meet with everybody, with every company every Monday. So my Mondays are very hectic. We probably have a 30 to 45 minute slot per company, and we know exactly what measures we're looking for. And then the rest of the week is pretty much determined by what the company needs, right? Depending on the stage. And my job is just really the 4 words. How can I help? Right? As they go through different challenges. So to keep on top of that, I have to. It's kind of like training, like physical fitness, right? There's such a thing in my opinion as leadership fitness, where I have to train for that, right? I have to be reading, I have to be learning, I have to keep myself prepared so that if people need my help, I know how to help them.
Great. Could you guys share with us the roles or experiences you've both had when it comes to leading a business? Maybe Tito, you could go first.
Sure. Why don't we let Anton go first? I just spoke last.
Okay, sige.
May iba naman.
Me, I guess it's cliche then how my journey started. I started from the bottom talaga. From an intern. So parang first I started as an intern for our advertising business. So I learned the skills and mga processes ng graphic design and services namin. Tapos we opened up another restaurant. From there, I did all roles. I did branding. I was a waiter. I acted as a cook for where kailangan ng kailangan ng replacement, absent si chef. I had to do that. I had to do this. Parang I had to fit all roles in a sense, and that taught me how to like what Tito Jasen said na how can I help? At least even if a chef asks a question, the waiter asks a question, the manager asks a question, I could still know how to do it. So those were my roles. That was my experience in leading a business. From there, I was able to I had an idea. I know the foundation and the stepping stones of each role, and through there, it's like I could let them parang I teach them the fundamentals, the staff, right, to be exact. Tapos through there, they kind of just parang hinahayaan ko na lang sila. So when they have a question, when we want to improve our services, they go to me. So that's my role in the business as leader.
Okay, so definitely you've gone through all the roles in your in your family's business. Yeah. So if one day, like let's say na you're gonna mamamanahin mo yung business, like the people working there can say na you've earned it talaga, like kasi napagdaanan mo talaga lahat ng parang mga jobs ng mga employees
Yeah. So, hindi nga kunwari, kailangan ako to step over if it comes, if given the opportunity.
It's really earned, not given.
Mm-mm.
So, how about you naman, Tito? Could you share like the roles or experiences you've had in leading a business?
Okay, I'll probably take one more step back, Bradley. So roles, I'll start with college because our topic is leadership, right? So roles in college, I joined orgs. I was pretty active. I think as a freshman, I joined like 3 or 4 orgs. And I got active. I actually became officers. So I started as a member, just like everybody. And then I would always be the guy raising my hand in orgs. And then you know what happens when you keep volunteering, but they keep giving you positions and projects. So I ended up being an officer in a couple of the orgs I joined. And in the end, I ended up having to pick one. It's kind of hard to spread, diba? So it's hard to do 2 things really well. So I ended up picking one, and I really took that student leadership to its maximum that I could really experience. And I could say that being a student leader, that role really helped build a lot of what I know. Because if you're in a business, people work for you. They don't have a choice. They kind of follow because the hierarchy. But if you're working in a student org, and I'm sure you guys experience this, it's voluntary. You can't make someone do it. You have to motivate, you have to attract, and you gotta have the synchronicity that you're on the same wavelength, right? So I think that was huge. That was a big role for me. And as you guys are going through school, I highly recommend that you guys try and do a leadership position in orgs. It's free, and the mistakes are relatively not too bad, and it's also free, right? And if you're gonna learn and make mistakes, that's a great place to start. And I did just like Anton. I did my summer jobs in my dad's office. Unfortunately, he is a morning person. So in high school, I think I would be in his office by 6 a.m., which was the summers are worse than
6 a.m.
That's very early, and you were there.
Parang patulog pa lang ata ako nun.
Tulog ka pa lang. Nag-office na ako. So I did not like my summers growing up in high school. And then when I was in school, I remember also taking summer jobs. I worked in IBM, and so it started as a trainee, and when I graduated, same thing, started at the bottom, just like Anton. It's a great place to start. It's very humbling, right, Anton? I mean, getting your fingers dirty, getting your hands dirty, getting kalyo, diba? And then right? Because you're exposed and you know what it's like to walk in their shoes. And then as I got older, I progressed, and I was getting promoted, and then now I'm chair of a few different companies.
So Tito, I just wanna clear up something. You mentioned that you took on summer jobs during your summer breaks. Was this during in college or high school?
In college na, Brad.
In college na. Okay, great. So it wasn't an internship. It was like a summer job. Job too talaga siya, or
yeah.
Like you part-time dito, or
in BML before, in business management before, it wasn't required there. A summer job wasn't required. And I remember taking summer classes just for one summer, but the rest of my summers I ended up taking a summer job out of it's a voluntary. It was good. Ibang exposure. You have to dress up. You eat out.
So this was for all 3 summers that you had remaining, apart from the first summer that you had, you took on some classes.
So 2 summers I worked, 1 summer I had summer classes, and then my senior year, baka wala nang summer job.
Okay.
Bakasyon. Summer.
So what are the highlights naman and challenges of being a leader in the field of business?
Oh, a lot. Is that for me or for Anton?
Oh, maybe, yes.
Anton,
Maybe for you, Tito.
I mean, first, okay.
Yes.
It's crazy, Bradley. Like, a lot of people say, and I don't know if Anton, you felt this. A lot of people say it's lonely sometimes to be a leader, and for you, Bradley and Luis, I don't know if you've experienced this, but it is, no. A lot of times, I have to make decisions, and I think about it. Like, I hope I'm making the right decision, because if I don't, a lot of people will be affected. Their lives will be affected. So I've learned to actually reach out to people and look for peers who are either going through the same thing, or people who have done it before, which are mentors. So I have a mentor that I've been seeing that changed my life. I think for 18 years now, still my mentor. So it does get challenging, but the realization is I don't have to be alone.
I see. So I've been hearing this a lot, like successful people saying that it was through like a mentor that they've somehow changed for the better, and
Because of
it's something that helped them reach where they are right now. So it's very important you find that mentor early on, right?
Yeah.
So even up until now, Tito, you and your mentor, like from time to time, you ask advice from him.
Oh, absolutely, Luis. And I read a book. It's called "Crazy is a Compliment" by Linda Rottenberg, the founder of Endeavor. And in that book, she actually shares that for her, everyone should have three mentors. Somebody older, the gray-haired white, or me. I'm not, but somebody older than you, or me. A peer mentor, somebody going through the same thing, and somebody younger. Because the thing that you don't see coming, they're probably the younger people are probably gonna see it first. So, yeah, the answer is absolutely.
Okay, great, Putito. How about you, Anton? What are some of the challenges that you've encountered personally, being a leader in the field of business?
A lot. Well, I'm not as experienced as Tito, pero from my own experiences, it does get lonely to a point na when it gets lonely and pressuring for me, especially because overseeing a couple of businesses, a lot of people and their families kind of rely on you. Yun ang parang greatest why ko, and why I still do it, still continue it kahit I'm busy with school, I'm busy with other priorities, but the pressure that you have to keep continuing, keep looking for the new thing, keep creating, keep selling is what kind of medyo nahihirapan pag may times. Actually kind of learned a lot na from Tito na saying na you have to have a mentor. I do have a couple, pero it's not the same relationship as parang okay, I can ask anytime. It's more like parang kamusta lang. But yeah, it's very hard to oversee from top to bottom, but I guess the experience and the little details that you pick up, it can bring you a long way. That's like how I can say it. Yeah.
I guess, Anton, you're in the stage wherein you're finding the mentorship that Tito had for the past 18 years.
Yeah, because I kind of work actually into industries. I guess I could say that my specialty is yung kung saan ako magaling banda sa creative side, creative direction and whatnot. But right now, since I'm in IT, I'm kind of discovering the tech world naman, the tech industry. So medyo dito, nasa position ako, I'm back to zero.
You're figuring things out again.
Yeah. I shifted kasi from BFA ID or BFA Information Design. So that's like a huge industry or huge step. or a huge adjustment. So, to parang there's this mindset na okay sa creative industry, I'm leading the generation. Pero when it comes to the tech, parang wala. So dun ang ano ko, yun ang one of my problems sa parang sanay ako sa taas, tapos pag dito parang I'm back to zero. So parang there's kind of that pride but also that pressure na you're able to do this here, you have to do this here din. Parang ganun. So,
parang kung nagawa mo yun dito.
Kasi I know it's possible na eh. I know it's possible to learn an industry and be a leading company or brand in the field. So yeah. Once na feel mo na or natikman mo na yung I guess the W, you know it's really possible in other industries for me. So that's where I'm at now.
Great. So could you share with us one memorable moment wherein you were able to lead a team into success? It doesn't have to be sa business mo or like even in orgs.
I guess to answer that, I want to first mention na before we had a team, it was just me and my brother. So I mentioned we have a sneaker cleaning business. Dati kaming dalawa lang yung naglilinis. So after school, I'd take a rest, then clean na kami, then study, then wake up at 5 a.m. So ganon. Wala pa kaming team noon. Just to get a team, to get the team in itself was hard for us because we were like grade 10 and grade 8. So parang for us to pay someone else, shoot, laking salary niya, parang laking bawas niyan sa capital, if you get what I mean. So getting a team in itself was really, really hard because we had to fix the financials and all that. But I guess it was really harder talaga to maintain the team, especially during this economy, during the pandemic. And for us to build a team from us to, how many were we? So we were like around 7 to 10 na. I guess that's one of my accomplishments right now na, diba? From dati, pinagtitiparan natin yung one part-time employee. Ngayon, we have 7 regulars na. And I guess something I actually learned from Javi. Dati parang ano lang ako okay, I want to do this, sige, gawin ko yan. Pero he taught me how to list down my goals. So I bought an iPad, put my goals here. Parang for a goal, I have a goal for a week, I have a goal for a month, a quarter, half a year, 3 years, a decade. So I put that there. And I want to share this to you guys na when I started that, I was thinking January and last year. Okay, I was thinking about Syndrome na, the whole brand. Parang I want to see Syndrome in the malls after 3 years. I want to be an international brand after 5 years. Be my own supplier and all that. Tapos, fast forward, parang after writing that down, siguro after 3 to 5 months, we were able to accomplish what we wanted to do in the next 1 year to 3 years. So that's something that was kind of humbling in a sense na parang, okay, wow, kaya natin to. Pero at that stage, we were at the level na parang, okay, we did this, what's next? So medyo nahirapan ako doon na parang, ito na naman, this was our biggest achievement 3 months ago. So how do I move or how do I transition from January Anton to March Anton? Kasi nandito na eh. So what's next there? Why stop there? So yeah, it's kind of the pressure and all that. That's one of my achievements or whys on leading a team.
Wow. Honestly, I'm so happy for you, Anton. Like, dati, before, one extra employee, parang tinitipid nyo pa. But now, you've grown the team into what? Like 7 people, right? And then ngayon, you've mentioned nga with the advice of Javi, you've learned this new technique of like writing down your goals and then actually seeing them happen much faster, I guess. With them written down, ganun. Yeah, I'm really happy for you, Anton. Maybe you could share with us naman, Tito, yeah, your memorable moment wherein you led a team into success.
Okay, happy to, Bradley. So I really like what Anton shared. I mean, imagine waking up at 5 a.m., right? At that age. It's kind of crazy. I kind of know how it feels, Rena. It's kind of crazy. And then what Habby shared. I don't know if we're talking about the same Habby, but
It's the same dude.
we might be drinking the same water. So I guess my answer, Bradley, to your question is how do I lead a team to success? My first step kasi is defining what is success, right? I remember when I went back to school, ang rockstar dati na pinag-uusapan was GE that Jack Welch was able to build and grow GE with a 20 over a 20% CAGR year on year for 2 decades. But there's another company, it's actually called Danaher, that actually blows GE's numbers out of the water. They did even better than GE. I think they were doing 27% compounded annual growth year on year for continuously. And the CEO actually came to our class in HBS to talk to us. And he said, you know, the biggest job of a leader is to actually define what is good. Is 8 good? Is 9 good? Is 20 good? Right? And that's I think where it starts, Bradley, for me. It's how do we define success? And then to Anton's point, it's really listing down the goals. What's our goal for in 3 years? And therefore, if we're gonna hit that, what does it have to be next year? And if we're gonna hit that, what does it have to be this year? And if we're gonna hit that, how does it have to look the next 4 quarters? And if we're gonna hit this quarter, how does that look this month? And if we're gonna hit this month, how's that gonna look this week? So if we're able to break it down, then we can kind of chop it up and know who we have to call, how many we have to sell, right? And like, what's our conversion rate? And then it becomes doable, right? I don't know if you experienced that, Anton, diba? Once you set it out and then you chop it up, uy, nangyayari step by step. Wala namang windfall eh. Rare naman yun eh. So I think the ability to define the goal and now chop it up as a team, and that, just like I'm sure like Anton with all your employees, not naman everyone's doing the same thing eh. So when you chop it up, kanya-kanya, di ba? Ikaw, you do this. Ikaw, you do that. Ako, I'll do this, di ba? And when all that comes together, that's when the magic happens.
So you're saying, Tito, na it's important talaga that you first define your goal, what your goal is. And then once you're able to define that, you must list down what steps must you take in order to reach that goal. And eventually, step by step nga, you're gonna reach the goal eventually.
Absolutely. So I'll share with you, I guess, ito medyo side topic na. One of the key principles I live by in my life, actually the very first one is, I will find what I seek. But if I know not what I seek, I may never find it. So I have to know what I'm looking for. I have to know what I'm doing. I have to know why I'm doing this, what my goal is. And if I don't know that, like I'll be wandering around, right? Like, kumusta? Okay naman.
That's so true. That's so true.
So Tito and Anton, like sobrang importante talaga magsulat ng goals because like ako like I'll share something with you guys because one of my mentors in the past parang sinasabi niya pala like, oh, if you lose your why, you lose your way. And that's the same thing that goes for you guys. Like writing goals is giving you guys direction and giving you guys where you want to be and where you want to go, no? And in your opinion, like when you write down your goals and everything, like what do you think is the most important quality a leader must have and why? Maybe we can start with si Anton. What do you think?
For me, it's just being goal oriented and being open to making mistakes. I'm gonna be honest, siguro from November to January, I was suffering from kind of like a 2-year burnout. So nung November ko palang na-acknowledge, shoot, pagod na ako. I was keep on working eh. So November to January, medyo wala na akong alam na gawin. So I set my goals na. But I kind of medyo na ako, nahirapan akong to continue. So maybe because I was afraid, maybe I was tired, pero last week lang na parang we were kind of designing blindly in a sense. Okay, we have these collections, we'll launch it this year, but that's that. So yung rate of designing namin sobrang bagal to the point na the last 1 month we're able to design like 3 collections for this brand, for that brand, for this brand. But last week or this week lang, we listed them down. So I have this year. It's right next to my bed.
Oh.
And all my goals, all the collections that we have to produce for, let's say, Converse, for Soul Academy, for Secret Fresh, it's here na. Tapos once we had this whole plan, parang okay, whatever happens, if may problems, if may delays, we have this backup plan. We have this and that. And listing them down talaga, and having this clear mind, and having this goals, and having the backup plans, really set us, or gave us the groove, kumbaga. So imagine that stump na 3 months. Tapos we were able to design like 1 collection a month. Ngayon, in like a week, so we're on our 3rd collection na. So we've pitched a couple of collections to Soul Academy na, to Big Boy Cheng, to Converse. So recently I got a job offer from Converse as creative director for some initiatives. And listing them, if I didn't list them down, siguro medyo nagano pa ako. Parang napaisip-isip pa akong kukunin ko ba talaga itong job na ito. Kasi parang pagod na ako eh. Pero as soon as that burden was removed, as soon as like I was able to remind myself to take each goal step by step, mas lumuwang na yung mindset ko. I was able to, like that was the quality that helped me get aim successfully.
Being goal-oriented, no? Like when you started writing your goals and everything, parang it give you time to like step back muna, like let's see what I have to do first, what I have to work on. Parang mas nakakatulong yun kaysa sa parang kalat na kalat yung mga inisip mo, no?
Sobra. Like it's a simple task, a hard routine to maintain, but once na nakasanayan mo na, it really helps you, really saves you enough time. And like what I said, even before the talk, I was able to find more time for me to do sports. Dun mas nakatulong sa akin. Kasi last sem, parang ang dami ko inisip eh. Parang may deadline pa ako. I'm not gonna go to this party. May report pa ako next week. I'm not gonna play basketball today. Parang ganun ang mindset ko. But to really be aligned with everything, my priorities and all that, really it just freed so much time, which consequently enabled me to do more stuff without that heavy feeling of being so tired.
It's nice to hear, and sana you still keep this up, especially na dami ka na din nahanap na time ngayon, especially to play sports, and you have so much time for yourself, no? How about you naman po, Tito? What do you think is the most important quality of a leader and why?
Okay, I completely agree with Anton, and I think this is where we overlap a lot. I actually wrote down 3 words. For me, the most important traits is 1, strength. To have the strength to make decisions, to have the strength to pull yourself out when you're tired, right? Because it's constantly changing, right? And yeah, my first word is strength. The second word I have is courage. The courage to act. Courage kasi is defined to be to act despite fear, right? Fear is normal, right? But to actually be able to act despite fear, to have the courage to fail, right? and then connect it to strength. I failed, it's okay. I'm gonna pick myself up. Or I'm tired, it's okay. I'm gonna pick myself up. I'm gonna do this again. Tomorrow's another day, right? And then the last word I actually have is humility. That there are things that I know. There are three no's. I know what I know. I know what I don't know. But the blind one is I don't know what I don't know. And to have the humility to acknowledge that and keep learning, keep growing. I think humans are boundless. We can be whatever we allow ourselves to be, but it does take work. And maybe as a last thing, just as a bonus answer to the three words, is I learned this from an author. His name is Joel Peterson. He wrote a book called Entrepreneurial Leadership. He was the CEO of JetBlue. That's an airline in the US, and a Stanford professor. He actually said that when he was raising his children, there's, like Anton talked about sports, that's physical fitness.
Yeah.
And then sa physical fitness, dami natin tracking, di ba? Like we can use our watch, we can put a heart strap, we can actually say I played for 2 hours, right? Or I scored 25 points, had 8 rebounds, I almost had a triple-double, whatever. There's so many stats, so many ways of tracking it. But physical fitness is just one thing. And what Joel Peterson talked about is that there's actually different other aspects of fitness, like mental fitness. And diba, Anton, for as a leader, how important is mental fitness, diba, to keep going? Because there will be hard days for all of us, right? Even for you, Bradley and Luis. And then apart from mental fitness is the emotional fitness. How do you keep yourself level? How do I keep myself, not too crazy? And then there's spiritual fitness, right? And then it goes on. And if I put in that much work to physical fitness and monitoring it and getting a shooting coach or whatever it is, the question becomes, how much time do I put in for my mental fitness or my spiritual fitness? And I think going back to some of the things you talked about earlier, Anton, and what you two were alluding to, is it's important to have, for me, I make time for it every single day.
So it's important, like especially for a leader, it's important to have yourself like composed and everything, and especially you have to take care of yourself, because like it's also going to cost whatever you're doing and who the people you're working with, not Tito.
Yeah. Do you guys should know this guy? He's a runner. His name is Usain Bolt, or
Yes. Tito.
Right. And then parang they said that he earned the most money for running something like 3.4 seconds or something crazy like that, right? Like he'd made this much money after running 3.4 seconds. Don't quote me on the timer. But in that interview actually said it took me 14 years to get so that I could run, right? So it's
those 3 seconds,
yeah.
3.4 seconds. Wow.
Whatever, but it takes so much to get there. And that's that after building so much mental, like, think about it. That's not just physical fitness that he demonstrated. It's mental. It's so mental, right? Even in sports, Anton, it's also very mental.
It's nice to hear, Tito. Tapos, if you really want to master something, it would take so much time now, and you won't even notice that time passing by. And like sometimes you won't notice like when you're already there at the top. Tapos you're going to figure like, oh, what's next? What am I going to do right now? So now that you've mentioned fitness, we wanted to ask, how else can one improve their leadership skills, Paul? Maybe we can start with you, Tito.
How can one improve? All right. So I for one is spoke about it earlier, is talking to other people. So I gain a lot of knowledge just talking to other leaders. Like even in your in your stage right now, diba? As you guys go through your leadership experience in school, you can always talk to other leaders in other orgs and ask them, what's it like for you? What I don't know what questions you have, but forming the right questions is huge, right? Like, and then just compare notes. So talking to people is one. Another one for me is reading. There's so many. I found so much value in reading, because I saw somewhere that in all likelihood, whatever I'm gonna go through, given so much history that mankind has accumulated, someone has likely gone through it as well. I'm not the first one in the entire universe to go through this. And there is also a high likelihood that someone's written about it. So there's a cheat code out there that will help me get through this, right? Parang kung baga test, di pala, may picture pa ni Joe. So kung baga parang may ano ka na, may na dyan eh, di ba? And so many people I know say, I don't have time to read, right? And here's a test for us, di ba? Show me your phones, and I'm just kidding. Look at your phones now and look at your screen time. And tell me how much time you spent on what, right? And and to read, it only takes 10 minutes a day. As long as you pick something up, as long as I read, kasi once I pick something up na, uy, okay to, I'll stop. And I don't follow the conventional, alam mo, like reading, diba? People say, you open page 1, you have to read the first letter, and you have to read everything in sequence until you get to the very end. You cannot move forward. And then so many people I've talked to, I say, oh, how's the book you're reading? Boring eh, paulit-ulit. I'm stuck. Why don't you just move on? Huh? Pwede ba yun? Like, just pick an interesting chapter. Just jump. Read whatever's interesting. If it's boring, change the book. So reading for me is a great way to keep improving and learning. And then the last one is like what Anton was sharing earlier, is to keep trying. If it doesn't work, change it. Try again. But once I stop, the learning stops.
Yeah, actually, Tito, recently I've been also trying to read, but like I keep on telling myself, like, I don't know. The only books that I've read were like what? Those readings that were given to me, like for academic purposes. But like my friends keep on telling me, you know what, you just need to read the right book. That's what's going to get you into reading. Maybe you've been reading the wrong books. And if you feel like you're reading this for like an academic thing or for something else, then that's not reading, because you're required to read it. You need like try exploring other genres or of books that might interest you. So that's why I've been actually trying to read, but like I've been so difficult. I just need to find the right book talaga.
I agree with that, Luis. And every time somebody actually comes to me and says, "Hey, Jason, can you recommend a good book?" That is so hard to answer. I have no idea what that person is going through. I do not have any idea what the burning questions are in that person's head. Picking the right book, Luis, is a matter of the current situation, right? And that's why it's best that you figure out. Again, it goes back to what Anton was talking about. What's your objective? What's the goal? Parang I want to learn this, or parang I want to read about this. Then read that.
Like it's important then to take into account like ano ba yung gusto ko gawin talaga, no? What about you, Anton? Like, how can other individuals improve their leadership skills? Ano mabibigay mong advice for our audience?
Parang mas gusto ko na lang makinig kay Tito Jason eh. Parang mas kind of lost my answer to that. So, please give me a few moments.
Go lang.
Think na lang ako eh. How do I improve my leadership skills?
Sige, tanungin ko muna. Tito, kayo, what are you reading anything right now?
Yeah. More on reading, right? So the way I treat books is kind of like the way I treat music. Diba? Parang there are some days like I'll wake up, I feel like listening to this kind of music. Yeah. Or the afternoon comes and next thing you know, I want to listen to this kind of music. So at any given time, I usually read 3 books. So when I wake up that morning, I will read whatever I feel like reading. Right? And then I normally read until I learn something. It's not na I'm gonna read today for 30 minutes. Nakakapagod eh. What if I'm not in the mood?
Yeah.
So if I read something and I learn it and I learn something na, I have that moment na, I'll stop. And I'm gonna think about it. And then like to what Anton said, and then I'm gonna write it down like, how can I do that today? Apply ko na. Para totoo na.
Natutunan mo from the book, no?
What I learned, para totoo na, di ba? Rather than balang araw, maaalala ko yan.
And that's when I'm going to use it.
Oo, balang araw,
Mas
maybe
okay.
15 years from
Mas
now.
okay nang simulan mo siya ngayon na para fresh pa siya instead of waiting for the right moment to use it.
And that's why picking the right book based on what you're going through and how you're feeling and what you want to learn matters so much.
How about you, Anton?
Okay. Obviously, I don't read books, so I can't suggest. But I do a lot
in your own way.
In my own way, okay.
Yeah, in your own way.
Modern day research. You can say that. Use my phone a lot. So you see a lot of trends which we apply to the brand. But one of the few ways of improving your leadership skills is through improving yourself. Experience talaga for me. Like, okay, we started as a sneaker cleaning business. What on earth? Paano ka pumunta sa apparel business? Ngayon, paano ka nagko-customize ng furniture? Parang very huge jumps eh. And it's a lot of questions come into play na parang, okay, I know sneakers, but I don't know much about shirts. So what's the best shirt? Who's the best supplier? How much do I sell this? Anong best colors? Ano yung mga magagandang designs? Mga ganon. A lot of questions go into your head. And sometimes you kind of get lost. I got lost a lot of times. Pero parang to the point na napagod na ako of asking myself na, I'll just do it. And if I make a mistake, I'll learn from it, apply it to the next. So next collection, we're not gonna do this now, or maybe it wasn't the right time. So just really do it then. That's one thing that enabled us to improve. Ayun nga, from sneaker cleaning to designing our own. Actually, from sneaker cleaning, we kind of opened our shop, yung flagship store. So we had to provide merch. So we kind of blindlessly sold merch. And in all honesty, it didn't sell. Like, lugi pa kami. So sana pala we just focused on the sneaker cleaning. But the pandemic gave us an opportunity to do it again. And just from doing that, and just from making that mistake of giving or selling merch from our store, just really helped us be better. Like what I said kanina, the brand's name was Sneaker Syndrome. So we were designing merch towards sneakers. Tapos after that the problem of not selling our shirts because it was centered towards sneakers. Okay, so baka hindi to pwede. Let's remove the word sneakers, just go with syndrome. It's more flexible. We could do anything about it. We could do anything with it. And from there, just kind of snowballed into, just kind of gave us some momentum to just do what we want. So for this collection, medyo iba ang trip namin eh. Like siguro si H&M, basics, ganyan. Si BYTEK, they go with the hype. Kaya ano lang, it's whatever we want. Last, parang on September, I'm going to Singapore to watch the Formula 1 Grand Prix. So sabi ko, tara, gawa tayong F1 collection. Yes,
you're gonna watch the Singapore race?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
That's one of my goals. Parang, okay, we have to do this to do that. And parang last month, we watched a movie that's super inspiring. Okay, it's all about sleep. So let's do something about that. It's basically expressing yourself, experiencing stuff, opening yourself to different experiences. Really just helps you. If it didn't work out for you, then at least in the future, you know na parang, okay, that wasn't the right time or it's not the right thing for you. But if it works, it works, and you branch upon that. So yeah, that's something that I learned or something that I can recommend. You guys are at the point where dami kong tanong pero wala namang ginagawa.
So you'd say that one of the best teachers that you've had is experience. Kasi experience taught you to make mistakes, experience taught you to improve more, and dun mo din na figure out like, okay, I've done this. ano yung mga pwede kong kunin from these experiences or ano mga pwede kong matutunan para to further improve and move forward.
Yeah, but relating it to what Tito Jason said kanina, yung courage. It also takes a lot of courage to work on your mistakes. So baka mamaya, parang okay, hindi ko trip tong style na to. Pero hindi mo pala alam, ito pala yung para sa'yo, hindi mo lang, you just didn't have the right perspective. So parang, it takes a lot of courage to reflect it on what went wrong and how you can change it. On whether or not it really works or you just didn't do something correct or right with it. Ganun yung namin journey.
So now that you've shared with us all your experiences, we just want to ask, like, who is one leader that you look up to and why? So maybe Tito, you could go first for this one.
Yeah, that's a hard question to answer. It's a very political question as well. So I'm gonna answer it this way. There's so many different people with so many amazing stories. And what I do, and if I shared one way I feel I can improve myself is by talking to people, right? So and it started even before the pandemic, where I would invite someone once a month to just have coffee and just sit down and talk. And I'm bold when it comes to inviting people to talk. So I've sat down, like recently, about 2 weeks ago, I had a call with Tony Tankatyong of Jollibee. So just to talk to him about his thoughts. I've had a conversation with Jaza, Monchu, Aboitis. I've had a call with Joel Peterson, the author. I actually just messaged him on LinkedIn. And then after 2 days, he replied and we set up a call and asked him, I had to prepare what question I wanted to ask him. So I reach out to a lot of leaders. There's another one. Her name is Vicky Chai. You guys can check her out. She sold her company to Unilever for $500 million in the US. And then just like what they did with Steve Jobs and Howard Schultz, they asked her back to run it again. So we've become friends. I also reached out to her and we did a call. So just so many people with so many great journeys and so much to learn from. And I learned different things from different people, right? And they now become a part of me. They leave a part of themselves behind with me. And I think with this podcast, as with you, Luis and Bradley, with the questions you ask, and with Anton and myself, we also leave a little piece of ourselves with everybody who takes the time to listen to this, right?
Wow, that was an impressive answer, Tito. Like
Okay ba yung answer ko?
Yeah, impressive. Like, yeah.
Heartwarming, Tito.
Yeah,
Pwede yun.
for sure. I was expecting that.
Tatanong na ako parang hindi na yung sagot ko kasi K-drama character lang
Yeah, go ahead.
I don't have no Jollibee CEO, but my answer was parang Park Serowi, but not just, but his story lang kasi na parang everything was taken away from him. Tapos to build something out of kind of nothing and just kind of parang he had this whole journey of everything was against
Is this
him.
guy the one from Taiwan class?
Yeah, that one. Everything was against. Everything was
great
against
K-drama.
Pero it was really, really grounded with his principles, with his goals, and whether or not these goals were threatened and his principles were questioned, he is very, very firm with it. So that was something that was someone or a character that I wanted to be. Parang, kumbaga parang parang siya lakas niya na parang binili na yung store niya. So, okay, so I'm gonna buy my own building. Parang gano'n.
He turned things around.
How do you have this imagination of being threatened to be kicked out of your own renting space? Tapos for you to move or for you to get this whole idea of buying your own building. Para that way, hindi ka na pwedeng i-kick out. So doon ako na-move na parang okay. There are people like that. Pretty sure there are people like that who think so differently. And that was something, or that was a trait, a personality, or not necessarily Park Serowi, but that was something that I look up to. And I kind of look for those moments, those traits in other people. So yung mga ganun.
Anton, you might wanna do the hair. Baka bagay sa'yo yung...
I did that once. It's not nice.
Okay, so it's also great sometimes na you have the audacity to think that differently, no? Like imagine mo, inuupahan mo lang yung place na yun, and then you're thinking of buying a whole building. Yeah, so it's important to have those kinds of
As in, diniskartehan niya yun. Yung ginawa niya sa
and then I think going back to what you've shared, no, yung listing down goals. I think instead of listing down his goals, siya ata, he just alam na niya basta in 7 years I'm opening something ganun.
Well, to be fair, when he was in jail, he took that amount of time to really learn the material, to really assess what he wanted to do after, during, and parang mga ganon. So to a point, hindi lang pinakita, but he did it. He did the work. Yeah.
Everything was done behind the scene.
Yeah, hindi lang nakita, pero it's kind of the same journey. You can call it that.
So importance of planning.
But I have a question for Tito. So like, how do you reach out to these people? Parang LinkedIn lang po, tapos hoping that they'll reply, or you have this feeling na, okay, this dude will definitely reply to me. Parang ganun.
I have no idea, Anton, if they're going to reply or not. I think if there's a source of strength that I have, and which comes with humility, is that I have a wife and I love her very much, and I think she loves me a lot too, right? And then I have my children, Joanna, Javi, and Joaquin. And I tell them this, I voice this out to them, that I can go out in the world and make a complete fool of myself, right? Do something that doesn't work. But when I come home, I know that they will still love me, even if I make a mistake. And that just gives me so much strength to try. So when I write these people, I have no idea if they're going to reply to me. Who the hell am I anyway? Right? Sino ba yan? So I write them with humility, with curiosity. I do research them before I write them. So I kind of mention a couple of things that with integrity that really I resonate with, or I'm really curious about. Like, so for example, with Vicky, Joel Peterson na lang, since I already brought him up. So with Joel Peterson, he actually said in one of his podcasts that if he has the right thought and put the words together, and then the right action comes off of it, he said you might be able to nudge the world even just a little bit. So that was my question to him. I go, Joel, I read that. What do you mean by you can nudge the world a bit, and how do you feel you have nudged the world, if you have? And moving forward, how do you want to nudge the world? So parang it's kind of interesting, right? Because it's something he talked about. So it's relatable. It's not like hi. Hi, I'm your fan. Hello.
Actually, Tito, di ba we did a recording 2 days ago ata with Joanna. Then, yung sinabi niya is, parang, be that person who raises their hand. Because, ayun nga, you raising your hand is like, you're putting yourself out there. Like, you're already winning half the battle. And that's already important. At least you're trying. So, sobrang wow. Like, hearing that from both of you guys.
It's probably the same water. You guys can get water from our house.
Yeah, I think you're some
iba yung tubig sa bahay nila.
Ganyan din si Abby Ganyan din siya. Tito, padala niyo akong tubig.
I'll put it up and sell it. You should commercialize the water here. Anyway, so all right. So now we'll be shifting to the more technical questions, no? For this podcast. We are curious, how do you think your leadership in the business setting has changed over the course of the pandemic? So maybe Anton, you could go first for this one.
Yeah. Well, I guess it's kind of obvious for me na parang since we went through the pandemic, na parang you really can't see these people face to face. And if ever, very minimal lang ang contact. So it was how, so before that, actually, before that, I would even go to the store lang just to check, okay, ano yung musta sales natin? Ano yung ginagawa natin ngayon? Tapos, it took so much time for me. Pero now that we were forced to do it online, to really just manage everything online, I was able to minimize the time that I took from the pre-pandemic to now. So it would take me like 2 hours to assess the whole business. Ngayon ano lang, 30 minutes, 20 minutes, 10 minutes. Okay. Ano ginagawa natin ngayon? What are the orders today? What do we expect for next week? What are our plans for next month? Ganun lang. Bilis. So it just gave me so much time for myself. Dapat for my studies and for everything that I just wanted to do. Ganun yung ano. That's something that changed for me.
So you're saying the pandemic in some sense, like kahit ang raming sama ng dinala ng pandemic, it was able to help you take a step back and parang change how you do things and do it in a manner that's much more efficient and better than you would have compared to pre-pandemic.
Yeah. I think Sir Jaben also shares the same sentiments. He keeps on posting it. Yung parang work from home. There are people who really, really enjoy working from home, and just makes it for specific jobs, specific people, just makes it more efficient. Parang I'm not from Manila, pero I'm pretty sure I could relate to you guys. Na you have to drive 2 hours to work, 2 hours home. It's just 4 hours of your life. It's 4 hours of your day. And that's around 28 hours for the week. And you could do so much with an hour, so much with 30 minutes, so much with 28 hours. And the pandemic really forced us to adapt to that kind of style. So I guess in a sense, it allowed us to do more. Kahit may mga other stuff yung dinala yung pandemic, that was something that I was able to adapt to.
Leaner operations and leaner way of doing things, right? Parang kailangan talaga yun, most efficient way possible, especially everything's done remotely.
Yeah, but don't get me wrong, it's also very, very important that you show yourself in person. To your staff, to your team. Kasi parang okay, efficient ka nga, pero parang baka mamaya isipin nila na parang turo. Parang wala yung whole family, team, morale, vibe to it. So yeah, so that's also very important. Dapat may balance in my experience.
I see. Great. So how about you po, Tito?
During the pandemic?
Yeah, like how did your leadership in the business setting change over the course of the pandemic?
Yeah. So my answer is exactly like Anton's. I think technology has allowed me to save a whole lot of time, and for everyone to save a whole lot of time. Our meetings are much shorter. I read in this book by Cameron Harold, Meetings Suck. I think I'm actually in that book. They have a line. Anyway, so I learned from him that why do meetings have to be 1 hour? Like whoever, saan ba nanggaling? Sino ba nagtatak niyan? Saan ba nanggaling yan, diba? So I don't know if Anton, you've ever done this. Like I've actually called for a meeting. Okay, let's meet for 35 minutes. Like what? And it's weird. It just becomes more efficient because people know we have 35 minutes. That's why our huddles when every company is between 30 to 45 minutes. They know it's not meant to be that long. So that's one. It's been a lot more efficient. And two, I actually learned this from Reed Hastings naman from Netflix. Is that what he does when is he actually has a check-in with his people to just find out for 30 minutes, at least every quarter, he checks in with the top leadership team, which Anton in his case is very different from us. I think he has 150 people in his leadership small circle.
7 lang kami, sir.
Leadership pa nga lang niya yun eh. Hindi pa nga yun yung lahat eh, di ba? And he does that every quarter. At least that's what he says in his book, No Rules Rules. And he spends 30 minutes with them. So when I went back to school naman in MIT, they taught me, si Cameron Harold was my professor. He taught me the definition of R&D. Guess what the definition of R&D is for him?
Research and
development, right?
Dapat, diba?
Yeah, dapat.
Sa kanya, sabi niya, rip off and duplicate. If it's working, for the love of God, just do it. So I do that a lot. If there's a great idea, I'm gonna R&D it. So we started that during the pandemic. I now opened up. They call it Kapihan with Jasen. It's every other Wednesday at 11 o'clock. So anybody can just sign up for 15 minutes, 20 minutes, and then we just talk. They introduce the topic, and then anyone from the company, just kumustahan. And then what I do right now is I reach out to the 1-2 levels down, and then I just spend 30 minutes with them and ask them 3 questions. Like, how are you doing? What are your challenges now? And the last question is always, how can I help?
Wow, that's so... Again, I wasn't expecting an answer like that, bro.
Hindi siya research and development.
Caught me off guard. Yeah, very good.
So, ayun, Anton and Tito Jasen, like with everything going on currently, like how do you motivate your team during the online setting or just in general? Maybe, Tito Jasen.
Yeah, so in our company, Laborem, we have 4 core values, right? The first one is integrity, which is doing the right things, especially when no one's looking. I'm not going to talk much about that. And then the other one is skill, having the right ability. And as we go through the skill everybody had in 2019, we needed a different set of skills in 2020. And when 2021 came, we needed, and then now it's 2022. So the skills have to continue to upgrade. And then the third value we have is hunger, which is having the right attitude, which in Filipino is diba? Gutom. Kasi kung gutom ka, hahanapan mo talaga ng paraan yan. So, and to answer your question, it's actually the last value, which is give. We do it for the right reason. The reason why we're together, and I'm a believer in the Netflix mentality that to form a team is to have the mentality of a pro sports team, right? Where everybody there plays a role. Anton already referred to basketball, so let's use that. The point guard, diba, has a very different role from the center, from the part, although ngayon medyo nagbabago, nagiging dynamic. Diba? But let's stick to the old school. But there's roles, the power forward, and then the guards and so on. And you don't practice when the game starts. You practice, but by the time you get here, so our reason is to help each other do well so that our dreams will come true. And again, it starts with defining what that dream is. And as a leader, I need to understand what their dreams are. Is it to send your kid to a better school? That's why you need more money. Is it to move to a better place so it's safer or healthier or better healthcare? And I'll only find out if I actually talk to my people and ask them, what are your dreams, right? So every year we actually have a leaders alignment with that, and then we share each other's dreams. And no judgment, right? If somebody says, I want to buy a sports car, that's your dream, go ahead. Just because sa akin sa anak ko mas magaling ako. No, I mean, it's kanya-kanya yan, di ba? So yeah, so it always goes back to our purpose that we want to do a good job because it will affect other people. And I don't know how many times we've experienced it. I've done it where if I make a wrong decision, for us to fix it, I don't know, Anton, if you've been in that situation, ang daming oras na kailangan para mabawi lang yung one wrong call. So I have to wake up, I have to have my mental fitness, I have to have my emotional fitness, I have to be physically fit, right? So that when the day starts, I'm ready. I'm not catching up.
How about you naman, Anton?
Speaker din pala ako.
na ano sa mga sinasabi ni Tito
Yeah. It's very, I learn a lot, but mine's kind of relatable, different in a sense na the whole, I just really want to, well, the only way I motivate my team is dapat they see purpose in doing it, doing the roles. And one of the best things, so we're a creative company, we're kind of in the creative industry, but the best way that we motivate our team is making them realize that they did this. They enjoyed doing this. Their hard work paid off. Na parang they could see what they did out there. Parang, to give you an example, parang, dati nagde-design lang kami ng shirt. Tapos mamaya makikita ng staff, ay, di ba suot ni Elena Dar na yan? Parang hawak-hawak ko lang yan kahapon. Parang gano'n. Parang tinupi ko lang yan. So parang for them to just share to us, parang, okay, they're really, really proud of what they're doing. And that just really just helps them create more. Kaya yung custom rugs namin, like kahit maliit lang na rug na ganyan to like a whole 8 by 10 feet rug. Yung post parang reflection na namin na parang, grabe laki na to, no? Pero pinost pala ni ano yan, no? Tapos pinakita ko sa mga friends ko, parang tuwang-tuwa sila kasi ginawa pala namin yun, no? Yun yung, that's something that we try to instill in the company. They have to know what they do. They have to acknowledge what they did and celebrate these little achievements, moments, or even problems. Kasi either that we've encountered the problem but solved it, kahit acknowledge lang eh. It's something that we really try to do, especially in the sneaker cleaning industry. Now, there are times talaga na a customer drops off a pair and it's not cleanable, you can't replace it. It's either because we don't know how to do it or hindi talaga kaya.
All right, cool. So before we let you go, no, what advice can you give to all our listeners who are aspiring to become leaders in business like you? What advice would you give them when it comes to leadership and being in business in general? So maybe we could start with Tito.
Okay, I'm gonna ask Anton, do you want to go first or you want
Yes, please. Ako na. Baka mas maganda yung video ko eh.
Gusto mo na makinig ni Anton?
It's just do it. Just do it. Fail fast and learn fast. Something I've taught myself. And you have a team behind you and they're always willing to help. Sometimes it feels lonely as leaders, but like what Tito Jasen has said, there will be people like you. There will be people that have gone through the same thing and they probably have the best advice for you. So yeah, you don't take it away.
Okay. So what thought do I want to leave you with you guys with? I have a few. No. If there's anything this pandemic has shared with everyone, it spares no one, right? It spares neither gender, nor race, nor height, nor width, nor nothing. It spares nothing, nor course. Is that life is not long and life is not guaranteed tomorrow. Like we have no idea what's going to happen tomorrow. Which really makes each day important, which makes each day new, right? And each day for me is an opportunity. We are not our past. Our past is our past. Today it's March 5. And tomorrow it's going to be March 6. And guess what? It's going to be a whole new opportunity to do something. And then the definition of who we are, of why we are, there's an opportunity to keep evolving that. And it's up to us to define it. And as Anton's talked about so much, defining, if we can have company goals, can you imagine if we can write down the person we want to become? Imagine if we have a goal like that. And then we can reverse engineer it by year, by quarter, by month, by week, by day. And then every single day, if we take one step towards that, we actually have an opportunity to become the person we want to become, right? But it starts with knowing who am I trying to be, right? And you guys are at the stage right now where it's so exciting, and you guys are like superheroes. You can go out party, Anton, till 3 a.m. You can have 3 hours of sleep, and you're gonna be fine. I can't do that, right? So you have energy, you have curiosity, you have so many, the potentials. I mean, there is no limit, absolutely none. We define our own limits, right? And if I could end with a wish, my wish for you all is to identify your rocks the same way I've identified that as long as my wife loves me, as long as Joanna, Javi, and Joaquin love me, I can go out in the world and make a complete fool of myself, even in this interview, right? And when I go back to the room, when I see my wife, and I go, hey, I think parang palpak yung ginawa. It's gonna be okay, right? Because we're all gonna do that. And the promise to each other is that go out, if you do something dumb, come back, let's process it together. But nothing's gonna change the way we feel and the way we feel about each other. So find your rocks and let them know that they are your rocks, and be someone's rock. So there, life is not long, tomorrow is not promised.
Let's ponder about that, guys. So, wow. And with that, we end our last episode, and I'm sure our listeners learned so much from listening to Tito Jasen and Anton. And remember to know your goals, reflect, and take action. Once again, thank you to Tito Jasen and Anton once again for sharing with us their time and learnings.
Wow, it's great to hear from both Tito and Anton, especially knowing that they are in different phases of being a leader in business. Personally, my biggest takeaway would be to find your rock and be somebody else's rock, which means that no matter what you do out there in the world, and even if you make a complete fool out of yourself out there, you know that you've got people who loves you unconditionally, which gives you more strength and courage to do more audacious things that can positively impact your business and life.
Sobrang totoo yan, Bradley. And I think one insight that really stuck with me is when Tito Jasen and Anton talked about being goal-oriented and maintaining your fitness as a leader. As mentioned, fitness doesn't only refer to one's physical fitness, but also the person as a whole. Practicing this allows leaders to also prioritize themselves and their well-being to mentally prepare themselves to lead these group of people. Being goal-oriented gives these leaders and their team direction and something to always look back on when things get rocky on the way. Thank you very much for tuning in to BYTECamp. And if you enjoyed this episode, make sure to like and follow BYTE on Facebook, Instagram, and even LinkedIn.
Catch BYTECamp's other episodes on YouTube and Spotify if you want to learn more about freelancing, teaching oneself, and work experience.
And stay updated on our Facebook page because you might just win some cool prizes, and we'll see you next time. Thank you!